Seems, madam. Nay, I know not seems. 'Tis not alone my inky cloak, good mother, nor customary suits of solemn black. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Yoga at Bonnevaux. I don't know if I should apologize for the tiny bit of Hamlet I did, or I don't know, charge you all extra. But I didn't. I thought we were doing a sound check, and I didn't realize we were live. But I think it came out quite well, Hamlet. So if you got that, it had nothing to do with yoga, as far as I can tell. So we're going to pick up the themes we've been working with, and classes have been uploaded, and we're starting to work with a new camera and a new mic. So I think our output is going to improve hugely. It's been not easy finding a mic and a camera that can work on such low and intermittent Wi-Fi signal. But things are improving. So let us know. Let us know if the sound is better. We're able to zoom in and do other things with the camera. So just let us know if that's working better for you. And I am sorry for all the frustrations, though I do have here. I couldn't see. So let's pick up one of the most essential themes that we've been looking at, which is the river of the spine, with its head and its antlers at one end, and its tail, its coccyx, its sacrum at the other end, and how we bend the spine forward and back. That's what we call front bends and back bends. So we're just going to begin with that. Start kneeling. So come around onto your hands and knees. If you need something for your knees, just this is a good moment to go and get cushions. For we have bunches of cushions and mats here if you guys need. Okay. And so just reminding you that you always have this option when you begin to work, which is the option of kind of looking at yourself and wondering as you look at yourself moving if you're doing a good job, if you're getting it right, if it looks amazing, all that kind of stuff. And that's really not what a movement practice is about. It can be, and it's fine to look at a weird shape that you saw in a yoga book or in your class that you want to learn how to do. So you look for a bit and you copy, but then we need to come away from that looking and that performing. And we just need to come back to this other extraordinary gift that our bodies are always offering us, which is the gift of nearness, of just being near, being our physical selves. And one of the loveliest gates into the garden of being with your body, near your body, being your physical self, is your sense of weight. Sense of weight. And so we're just going to let the torso move over the hands and knees, forward and backwards. How's the volume, by the way? Is it okay? Forwards and backwards and side to side, just little easy shifts of weight. Don't need to be too directional or too considered about it. And as we move the weight, we feel the weight moving around in our hands and over our kneecaps and down our shins and into our toes and out through our fingers. And we can amplify that movement. And as we do that, you can also adjust a little. If your hands were too close and you were feeling a bit teetery, or your knees too close to each other, or your hands and knees too close to each other, just spread them out so you have a good open base. Doesn't need to be symmetrical. I can see that my right hand is a little in front of my left hand, and it feels fine. So just, you don't need to be all tidied up. And then you can really start to lean your weight onto the outside of one of your legs, or you can kind of lean forward into your ankles and then kind of slope around into a circle and coming back. And just letting the weight of the chest and the heart and the lungs kind of pour around over your hands. And just letting yourself make a sound. So again, it's really like going for a walk in a garden or in the countryside. You're not performing the walk for anyone. Nobody's watching you walk. You just go for a walk. So it's much more about participation, being in nature, going to that tree that you wanted to walk to, or up that hill, or whatever. It's the same here. As we move, we slowly drop away from that visual naming network that we're in all the time, and we are just gloriously wasting time and moving and sensing, and of course remapping, getting to know, being surprised. Wonderful. Let's just drop down to our elbows, and you can let your palms be sort of semi up. There isn't an exact position, but if you do lots of yoga, you don't need to put your palms flat on the floor unless you want to. Just semi up so that actually you can feel the point of your elbow, the beautifully named olecranon, which is this wonderful pointy bit that you can feel as you move around, especially if you lift your forearm a little bit, you'll feel there's an elbowy, no, the other way. Listen, if you lift that way, you'll feel there's a point down there, yeah. It's like the heel, it's like the heel of the foot. And again, we're just going to let ourselves move. Now, as you move around, your weight will pour itself into your forearms, and the forearm is made of two long, windy bones. So it's wonderful if you've been doing lots of typing or kung fu or cliff climbing or needle threading, and you've gotten tight in your forearms. This just begins to make it all wake up so that your hands, when we come back on them, can be awake in circles and go. Let's go back. Kind of go back as far as you can, if it works for you, so your forehead is on the ground. And just hang out there with your bum in the air. Let go in the belly, let go in the ribs. Let yourself really hang through. Remember, because we've been here before, so if your shoulders are warning you, don't push through. Shoulders, it's like the knee. If it bothers you, you should step back and just see if you can find another pathway. So if the shoulders are bothering you, widen your arms, or don't go so far down there. I just noticed I let go of my neck. So all the way down to your forehead, letting go, letting your mouth hang, letting your jaw hang, the ribs, the arms, sense of weight dropping through the curve of the upper back that's normally front bended, what we call the stoop. Letting that curve untangle as you hang through, as you let your ribs hang forward. Don't hold the belly in, and if you've been told at yoga not to let your ribs wing out, wing forward, just don't worry about that right now. Just allow the whole torso, the whole rib cage to hang forward with every breath. This is actually wonderfully healing for the spine. Then I'm just going to let my head wobble a bit, and you could make a sound again a couple of times. This HA sigh, and then the head can wobble again. And coming back through the sense of weight, just to be near, the gift of nearness. Things opening in the armpits. Okay, and then we're just going to come back up through the elbows and back onto the hands. Okay. Now curl your toes under. Really hook your toes, especially the big toe. Curl the toes under. And we're just going to lean forward through the wrists. And as you lean forward, let your neck open up a bit of your head. Grow. Open your bigger than you're used to. Antlers growing off the tips of your ears. Yeah. So just open that up. Open, let the jaw open, let the back of the nose open. Antlers. So now when you move your head, you're moving this extraordinary airborne, bony, antlery, branchy thing that's growing above your head. And now we're going to push with the hands and lean back into the bum, into the sit bones. And as you go back, you're going to imagine your tail growing out and sticking out between your sit bones and sticking up. So a squirrel's tail is always a good one to choose. Up, bushy, yeah. And as that happens, that should help you to really let your belly hang, let your ribs hang, let your heart hang as you go back. And as you go back with your bum and tail, you can go forward with your arms. So you can see me doing it. So listen to, yeah, I'll come around in a moment. So again, we're back where we were a while ago, a moment ago, but now the toes are tucked under. The sit bones are way up in the air. The tail is way up in the air. Yeah, great. Tail going up. So now you can see I'm not giving you shapes, but I'm actually giving you orientative messages. So the tail is going up, and as the tail goes up, you should feel that your sit bones widen. It's a micro movement, but it feels huge. One of the reasons we get back pain when we sit in a chair or sit for meditation is that as you go to sit, your sit bones have not widened. The back of the pelvic floor has remained clenched and tight, and then the body's struggling. So this is also known in the ancient Sanskrit names of yoga, drunken squirrel with its ass in the air. I forgot in Sanskrit for that. But so you were sitting and you've fallen over forward, but you're still in the folded leg to torso shape that you would have for sitting, and you're just letting the back of your pelvic floor open. And this is foundational to beginning to move into a yoga practice and to begin to have health. All of you do lots of computer work and all of that. Great. Feel your toes. Bend into the toes, tail going up, sit bones widen. We're going to move in a moment, but just before we do, just check that you're not blocking your rib cage, those middle ribs and vertebrae, from dropping by leaning into your elbows. And you can play with that. If you just widen your elbows a little, and then, is that okay? Yeah. Then your spine looks good, John. Your spine might let go. I'm just going to touch you between your shoulder blades. Is that okay? So your spine will let go. Yeah. Did you feel? Yeah. So don't push it, but this is the thing. We're just going to play. And there's nothing that you have to do better or right. That's it. So this is going up. Your belly is hanging off. Yeah. There's two really interesting areas. Here's one. Then there's a big release here, and then you get another one here where your body goes, I'm not sure how to do this in here. Yeah, right through there, and I think there's a bit of a side bend. Yeah, is that okay if I push like that? Yeah, so that's all. And so you're just there, you're just letting that. And then your neck also, if you let your neck bend a little that way. Is your nose okay? Yeah. You don't want to pulverize your nose. This is good. So you can see you let go. That's it. And as you let go, you're letting go out through your fingers. So the more the tail goes up and you hang from the sky, the more your spine drops off and you're starting to open up those ribs and vertebrae. And then we're just going to come up through the elbows, the hands with the antlers, back up onto your hands and knees, toes bent. And we're just going to just push gently through with the toes and reach through with the antlers. And you don't need to slump all the way down. We've talked about this before, but you can do, it doesn't bother your back. But we're actually going to go through, and the support is going to come from the toes. The toes are pushing, and from the head, which is heading with its antlers. Yeah, so you can play with letting go completely or feeling there's a kind of a readiness. Yeah, yeah. And then we're just going to yeah. And you could widen a little and come forward a little. Yeah. And then we're just going to push with the hands and reach back and slide back to where you were. And then push with the toes and slide through. Toes to antlers and then hands to tail. Toes. Yeah. And then try not to do it by kind of hardening your belly or hardening your bum. Just slide through your mouth. And then and this time open your anus. And then the other way, sliding back and open your anus. Why that is not a politically correct thing to do, because world peace would grow exponentially if everyone stopped being so tight in their bums. And toes to hands and slide through. Yes, slide all the way through. And then we're going to just reach back with your right heel. Now, the heel going away from the head opens the mechanism in the back of the knee. So let the back of the knee open. It's like as your heel goes back, your knee does that at the back. Yeah, because you have muscles above and below, and they pull like that, and the knee opens. So just really let that heel pull away from the antlers, and then put the knee back down. Rest, and then the other heel, the left heel reaches back. The heel going one way and the antlers going the other way. Let the back of the knee open and release. And the right heel. And now we do both the left heel and lots of length. And you talk to each other and say hello. Yeah, hello. You can tell if you sound constipated like this, then you're doing it wrong. So you should sound more resonant than ever. So, yeah. And also we can stay here forever, which we will. And then take both hands off the floor. No, don't. And put the knees back down. And just slide back. Enjoy the whole journey, letting the sacrum heal, letting those lower back vertebrae and discs all hang forward. And then we're just going to keep walking back under your toes and walk all the way back into what's called child pose in yoga. And rest. This is actually called sleeping lion squirrel. Yeah. And rest. So go with after a few breaths, you'll notice that you'll actually settle deeper into the fold of your knees, deeper into the fold of your hips. As we get quieter, we begin to make friends with the beautiful asymmetry of our bodies. So you'll notice one leg feels different, folds differently than the other one. Yeah. getting to know that is wonderful, and it's also a very good way of staying healthy and not hurting yourself. Getting to know how the river of the body winds and winds in gravity and isn't symmetrical. Yeah. And then when you're ready, if it's okay on your neck, so if you've had a neck injury and this bothers you, or you have you have issues with your eyesight, glaucoma, or just had an operation, then you may not want to be heads down. You can do the same thing with a chair. You can do the same when you get a chair, just in case. We did this before, but here we go. So you don't want to be all the way face down. Yeah, you can be up, but you can still fold into your knees and hips like this. Put a cushion on the seat and rest. And you can make this as high as you need by putting more cushions. Okay. So we're still resting into the bones of the foot and the bones of the lower leg and the fold of the knee and the fold of the hips. And we're letting the tail, which was a squirrel's tail, become a wolf's tail. So it's heavy and it's down. And we're letting the pelvis bend like that. Curl. If you have back pain, this may not be the most comfortable position. It's the one we aim for when our backs hurt or our lower backs hurt or we have sciatic, but actually it's not always ultimately the best thing to do. The other one is. Here we are. And so now, if it's okay with you, you're just going to start walking your arms back towards your feet. Yeah, you can, if you were up on a chair, you could do one arm at a time or not, all the way back. And that will change the curve. You'll be more curved, less supported by your arms. And now reach for each heel with your hands. So just curl, that's it. Curl around. And then very gently begin to pull the forehead towards the knee. So you tuck your chin in. Your chest may lift off your legs a little bit. You can widen your legs if you're not comfortable. And we're just curling in. Curling in. So in the Sanskrit, we have two terms which are very beautiful. We have mudra, which is the term which is used for when we close a gesture with the body, when one part of the body touches another, like we're doing with our hands on our heels, or namaste, that would be a mudra. And so the mudra, this closure, what in modern movement terms we might call bound flow, this closure that we make gives us a contact and a pull. And then we start to close the sluices or diaphragms of the body, which in the old Sanskrit are the bandhas. They knew that there were these horizontal places where we could squeeze shut, like the anus or the mouth or the diaphragm. So as you pull in, start to push the tongue against the roof of the mouth, squeeze the anus. You can squeeze the breathing area if you want by breathing out. And it's like as you pull yourself in, it's like taking a rag of water and wringing it. Squeeze. And then just when you release, just notice what happens. You release, of course, the breath comes in. That's one of the first things that happens. And the body expands. Yeah. And let's squeeze again. So you may have lengthened a bit, but so grab the foot again, and we're just going to pull in again. Pull in, pull the belly in, push the air out, squeeze the anus. Push the tongue against the roof of the mouth like you've put something very sour in your mouth. Squeeze. It's wonderful how ancient osteopathy is. There we go. And then let go. And this time as you let go, you can see Henriette just did it, John just did it. You're just going to let as you let go, you're going to let your spine start to lengthen. So that's it. And there'll be, and just enjoy that feeling of the breastbone earthworming its way along your thighs. And then one arm comes forward, and then the other arm. Before we get too long, just put one hand on top of the other, put your forehead on your, yeah, that's good. And just rest in this middle length place. Rest. Notice the changes in the way these containers talk to each other and the content inside. You know, there's more room for the river of organs. There's more room for the way the breath wants to move around in there. There's a different relationship of the pelvis to your upper torso and your head. Your head and your neck are doing something different. Very nice here with the head on the hands to let the cervical curve, so the curve of the neck with its 7 vertebrae, to let it hang towards the floor. Yes, so you don't need to make your neck super straight and have your chin tucked in all the time. It's really not so healthy and helpful. You want to let your neck have a bit of curve, Some of us, like me, can get too much curve. Some of us, like others, can be too flat, and we want to come away from those extremes. So this is a wonderful place. If you just really let the forehead rest on your hands and then let your jaw hang off, and imagine that your tongue is really starting to hang off, and the tongue is like this portal to your cervical vertebrae, this portal that allows the neck to have its curve and its expressivity. When we lock the jaw shut and we push the tongue up against the roof of the mouth because we're embarrassed or shy or nervous or whatever, we're interfering with the flow, and actually we don't communicate something very relaxed to the other. Yeah, so we just want to let that hang out. So if you start drooling, that's fine. Hanging, opening, softening. Yeah, great. And now, when you're ready, after a couple of breaths, when you want to, you start to walk forward arm by arm. So don't take it so that it brings you up onto your hands and knees, but go as far as you can, just getting longer. And every now and again, just breathe and wait and feel this new length, this new place where the breastbone is. This can be done also climbing up higher onto the sofa or a chair. Yeah. Elbows resting, 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 resting. And then there's a moment where if you keep going, your pelvis starts to come off the floor, off your heels. So keep going, arm by arm, you're walking along, and your pelvis starts to tip up and off. Yeah. And just let that happen. You start to come up, and then when you can tuck your toes under. Yeah, that's okay. And we're back to the squirrel with its tail in the air. Back to the whole spine hanging off. The whole spine hanging off. Wonderful. Wonderful. Beautiful. Okay. So maybe just come up slowly, come up to kneeling, and then come up to standing, and just feel where you are. You can wobble a little, feel what's changed, and go for a little walk in the room, in your living room, or wherever you are. Yeah, so you have a chance just to feel what's changing and where you are. Yeah. Let yourself kind of dawdle, let your arms swing, let your legs swing, stop, look out the window. Yeah. Just notice it. So we come back to something very ordinary. You received the bindi from being on the carpet. Yeah, Just letting the arms swing, letting the legs swing. Okay, everyone okay? Yeah. What? Space, yeah, it does change, doesn't it? Yeah. You know, that little tilt of the head that we just don't realize that we've kind of gone this way and then this way. And, whoa, concerned about my life here. You know, and then you open up and that just that look how John stands. It's just that tilt where the head is, and it's a whole different world. Yeah, it's a different world. Different world. Okay, so let's lie down on our backs and we'll do the same thing but completely different. So you're on your back. Is this okay, Laura? You're on your back, bend your legs. Yeah. Okay, just coming back to the sense of weight. We can put our hands on our belly or our hands on our ribs. Sense of weight. Huge feet, huge heels and toes touching the ground. If your legs feel unstable and they want to fall over, you can widen your feet a little bit from each other or from your bum. Okay, so take the palms of your hands and put them, stroke down your tummy, down your belly, until your baby fingers bump up against your bended legs. So your hands will be over your groins, let's say, and your fingers will be, or if you move around, you'll find your pubic bone. It's bony and it feels different than when you press down on your belly. When you press on your belly, it's a different kind of pressure sensation. When you press over the pubic bone, it's sensitive. Yeah, mildly sensitive. It's a different feeling. And under it, you feel that you're standing on something solid. Okay, so your hands are there. Huge feet. Hands over the groins, just hanging out with your sense of weight, looking up at the ceiling, or realizing that through the ceiling, the sky is looking at you. The breath is breathing you. There's nothing you need to do about that particularly. Okay. So your tail is sticking out between your sit bones, out down there in your legs. And your tail begins to go up. And as the tail goes up, you feel that your pelvis tilts so that your lower back goes into the floor. I'm gesturing. So the pelvis tilts that way, that way. And as it tilts, you feel that your lower back has oozed into the floor as your tail goes up. And then the tail goes up even more, and you feel that not only is the pelvis tilting, but it's starting to go up. And as it goes up, the knees reach out over the feet. And you start to roll up from your tail. Start to roll up. So it's not a plank that's being lifted. It's a chain. It's a string of pearls. Yeah, going up. Going up, and you're rolling up higher and higher up your spine, higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and higher up your spine. Yeah. Yeah. And your hands may, if your elbows are still on the floor, your hands will have slid more to the outside of your body. And you keep going up. Don't let your knees go too far away from each other. Keep going up. Keep rolling up. So you've ended up high, 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 high on this route. And then you just let ourselves roll down. Let yourself roll down from the top through Take your time over really juicy, clunky bits, clunky, jammed, locked into place bits, all the way down. So your tail is the last thing to rest on the floor, and then it rests on the floor. And your back will resume a bit of its curve, and that's fun. Huge feet, yeah, yawning is wonderful, making sounds, it's all fine. And then the tail is going up again, the feet are huge and awake, the tail is going up, the knees are going forward, the feet are receiving you, the tail is going up, the pelvis is going up. And as you go up, just let your arms float up too, vertically. So you see your hands up there in the space. You're way, 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 way high. You keep going higher and higher. And if you move your arms around a bit, making little rotations on axis or little circles, you will feel that you're moving around on the tissue of your upper back that gets all dry and hardened. So going higher and higher, and letting those arms move higher and higher and higher and higher. And then we come down through the spine. And you let your arms drop. And just notice what's different. Notice what's different. Feel your feet. Where are you? You're probably lying on a slightly different part of your rib cage curve. And the tail is going up. You can let this accelerate a little bit. The tail is going up. Huge feet, knees going. As you go up, your arms sail up. Keep adapting your head position so you can go higher and higher. And as you get to the very top of the movement, use your feet and your little bit of effort to go higher, higher. And now we're going to let the arms go over the head to the floor. You can widen them. If they're uncomfortable, you may want to come down and get some cushions and go back up again. Lots of space. And now we're going to leave the arms quietly on the floor as we come down. Take your time. This is a very, very profound movement of the upper ribs, rib 1 and 2. Vertebrae 1 and 2 of your rib cage, and vertebrae 6 and 7 of your neck. That place is being mobilized. All the organ tissue on the front of the vertebrae is being moved as you roll down, and your tail is the last thing on the floor. And as you let go completely, your back will come back a little bit to its curviness. All of that's fine. And just hang out there, hang out there in this new position. It's a very subtle and sophisticated back bend, really. You're letting those upper ribs up here open out, where we tend to be forward with the head and forward with the ribs and shoulder blades and arms, and a little curled in. Just want to let that open. If it bothers your shoulders, adapt by widening your arms or putting, something underneath your arms. Are you okay? Yeah. So lots of breath. We're just going to stay here a bit and just wait for the rib cage to open. Also across the front, because of course at the back you have where the ribs and the vertebrae meet, but the ribs come round to the front and they have a joint there where the rib meets the cartilage, which meets the breastbone. It's a less adaptable joint, but it is there, and it's very alive. And so then the breastbone can open, and all the tissue behind the breastbone can open and widen. There's a muscular structure behind the breastbone, which looks like a fern, a very asymmetrical ferny shape. And that can also start to close on itself. So we want that to quietly open. Also, all the structures that climb up the front of your neck are just being given a chance. Swallow, let the tongue be soft, let the eyes be heavy. Okay, we're going to go back up one more time. Huge feet, very big tail, and the tail is ascending, going up. Flocks of doves have come and gotten hold of your tail. So it's not something you're doing. You are being lifted by your tail. And you go up. Try just to widen your foot position a bit. Yeah. How's that? Yeah, you're also sliding a little because of your socks. That's it. Up, you go up. And then, of course, the muscles are doing the effort, but you put it in your tail, that your tail is flying, and you've gone to this high part of your ribs, and you're way up there, and you really let your arms soften and ooze in length on the ground. You let all of that newness, the armpits are opening. Let all of that happen. And when you want to, when it feels right, then you can come down, of course. And again, just hang out there for a bit. So we will do this in a moment, but we've worked with the relationship of the leg to the torso and how at the end of the movement, it's important just to hang out there and not have any expectations. Same here, you've come down and you're making this foundational request for your upper spine to release vertebrae to ribs, to organs, to arms, to neck. So we're asking for all of that to open up as you lie there and relax. And the body kind of wants to pull back in, but the position and the work you've just done is inviting. So you can let that all play off against each other. Just breathing, maybe making a little little wobble of the head. Just noticing it's so easy to look at this from the outside, and then we've lost the grandeur and the beauty of the intricacy and the simplicity of how that shoulder joint is, how the shoulder blade with its complex shape meets the clavicle, the little collarbone meets the upper arm bone. Yeah, and all the organ structures that are very nearby, your lungs and so on, it's all opening. It's all opening. And then to come down with the arms, we're just going to make a little journey on the floor around. And as you go, you don't force through. So you may need to lift your arm and find ways over as you come down. Yeah. And just you can stop along the way and observe the countryside and then pick up again. Yeah, the arm will rotate possibly. That's great, Henriette. Just, yeah, one step at a time. Yeah, you can do one arm at a time. Exactly. Yeah. And then the other one. And how does that feel as you travel down? And then when the arms are lower than shoulder level, you stop wherever you like. Stop and feel. Stop and feel. Yeah. So you'll notice that your upper vertebrae and ribs And neck, arm, head position is different. So you've been out there in the garden and you've loosened the earth. And so the relationships are different. And it's nice just to hang out for a little bit and just take that in. And of course, always as we move, we remember things, little memories bubble up, sensations along with feelings, shifts of mood. And all of this is very good. We're all very different how we do that, but it's all part of the rich goodness of embodiment. Okay, so there you are on your back with your legs bent, arms on the floor, just enjoying how things are moving and so on. And we're just going to let the right leg roll to the outside. So your leg is bent. I'm also doing it up here. You're just going to let your right leg fall out. So it may take the body width, but don't go too far. Just let the leg articulate away from the rest of you. And you'll notice, you may be surprised that it goes very far or not very far at all. You may notice some pulls across the groin. Mostly it's all okay, unless it's very sharp. And you're now on the outside of your right foot. And we're just going to let the legs slide down. So if your yoga mat or wherever you are, if it's not conducive, get the non-slidey things out of the way. So that you, and when the leg has slid really long, take your right hand and just stroke gently or rest gently over your groin. So you're just touching across the place that has released long. And we're releasing long, it's not just the leg at the pelvis, the leg climbs up through the pelvis and up the lower vertebrae, the lumbars, via that long, powerful organy muscle called the psoas. So we're just from the belly, we're sliding down across our quads. Yeah. So you see, this is very similar movement to what we did with the arms. Now we're going to bring that same leg back. Don't flex the knee straight up. Let the leg roll out and come back the way it went. Yeah. So yoga mat may get all crumpled. Come back, and now the left leg falls open. Working a lot with the weight, your left hand can touch across the groins. Working a lot with the weight, letting the leg be heavy, letting it slide long. And at the very end, just rest. It's as if your leg is sinking down through the ground. You know, when you float on your back in a pool, or some people are really good at that, I'm not. You're floating on your back and then your legs start to sink. So that's what you're letting happen. It's as if your leg is sinking into the ground. You're touching when needed. And then again, the leg rolls out and it's through the knee that it gets dragged back up. And then you're up and you're on the underneath of your foot. And breathing. And now the right leg drops. And slides long. And really outside roll. And add. And then we bring the leg back. Now we're going to let the right arm lie on the floor, palms up. And as we let the right leg drop to the outside, we let the right arm bend at the elbow. So we've got a bent right arm and a bent right leg. And the right leg will slide down as the right arm slides up on the ground. And you just let yourself into whatever leg comes. You don't need to force it. The elbow comes off the floor, all of that's fine. Rest. And then the elbow bends as the arm comes back down, and the knee bends as the leg comes back up. And the left arm drops out, and it goes up as the left leg goes down. And you let yourself. So I rushed past a really funny bit on my shoulder there. So don't force anything. And then the arm comes down and the leg. So your legs are bent, your arms are wide. Just rest. Just rest and notice where you are. Yeah, notice. Yeah. It's that's a very, very profound thing, that leg to pelvis, that kind of bunchy, jumpy jitteriness in the thighs. And it never comes undone by forcing it, so just working slowly. And then roll over onto your side and come around onto kneeling. How are we all doing? Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Comfortable? Okay, if you're not, put some cushions under, but we're not going to stay sitting for very long. Yeah. So we're just going to come up. Okay, we've just been opening this pathway, so we're just going to do that now in kneeling. But we're just going to sit back down and just feel how this folds so naturally when you sit. Yeah. And then if you flex and try to come up, it's very effortful. But if you fold here and lean forward, the body comes up. There's a different ease. Yeah. Same. If you bend and try to sit down, you have to work everywhere. But if you just let your bum go back and you let yourself be a bit achy, and you'll be back on your heels before you know it. And again, we fold here, and you let yourself go. Okay. The next time, we're just going to let the arms swing up. Yeah. Yeah, of course. It should make you smile because it's a very sweet movement. Up, yeah. Up, and then we come back. Okay, so here we go up. Now, we're going to keep going, but it doesn't all have to happen in your lower back. You want it more, you want the back bend to kind of travel up into the upper back. So just leaning into your lower back is okay, but it doesn't really go anywhere. So we're just going to let the arms lift us. It's by lifting that the back bend lifts. Yeah, so your arms come up and you let your elbows come towards each other and they lift, and that's what begins to move. You can see my upper ribs are moving as I breathe, as I talk. Yeah. So it's not just down there, it's my arms that are actually lifting me up. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. If you throw your head too far back, it's okay, but then a lock happens in your neck. So you want to be not so thrown back, but look, you feel that? So you want to have that feeling that you're going up and that these are closer. That's good for your shoulders. And then just release and fold at the hips and come back up. Yeah, one last time. So we're going to fold from here. We're going to go up, and then it's the elbows come towards each other, and the lift of the arms as we root through the knees. It was what brings you more and more up and through. Yeah, beautiful. Rooting and lifting and opening. Yeah. Rooting through the legs and lifting and opening through the arm. And this time we'll come all the way down into child pose. All the way down and through. That was beautiful. Yeah, everyone, you just rest. You can rest in any of the variations with your head resting on your hands or arms forward or back, whatever it feels good for you. Yeah, and let go completely and soften. Soften and soften. And then we'll just roll over and lie on your backs. If you need to get warm and you want to put a sweater on or a little blanket over you, you're welcome. We won't be here forever, but just so that you can really stop. Stop and rest. And again, just as you close your practice, just not looking at yourself, not languaging yourself, not naming things, just resting. The container, this amazing container that we have with its layers, and then the content, all the heavy, slushy, bony, hardy things inside there. And the volume, the sense of the spaces inside. There is no space inside, it's all vacuum packed. But we feel space at every joint and in these groupings, these container areas, we feel space, room, feel room. And then the weight. This extraordinary and beautiful thing which we problematize a lot because we are always looking at ourselves and others, but the mystery, the sacrament of the reality that we are weighted beings on the world. Yeah. And we bear our weight. And we bear each other's weights. So, thank you everyone. Wishing you a lovely week and weekend, and we'll move again together next week. Bye-bye from Bonnevaux.